Why can't anybody get this right? Thank you, Newhouse. Thank you. Finally, a headrest that freaking works. Newhouse gave me a 10% off code to share with you all, so if you want to pick up any Newhouse chair, not just the Ergo 3D, use my link down below and use code HONESTLY10 for 10% off. The best way to summarize the Newhouse Ergo 3D is that it's a simple chair and the price tag reflects that, but this chair just works so well together. For example, this headrest is probably better than 95% of the headrests we've seen on this channel, and we've seen quite a few. It beats out headrests that are on chairs that are double, triple, even quadruple this chair's price tag. And this headrest pairs really nicely with a very interesting lean back feature, which I'll talk about a little later in this video. Also, I've only reviewed a handful of chairs that have this 2-tier lumbar backrest system, but of the ones that I've reviewed, I think this chair offers the most amount of lower back support. Again, we'll talk about that later in the video. But one thing that this chair doesn't provide is complete digital security, unlike Aura, who's today's sponsor. Aura provides all the digital security you'll ever need. They provide you a VPN, web protection, antivirus and anti-malware, a password manager, fraud and identity monitoring, financial monitoring, credit monitoring, you name it and it's got it. And what's really cool is, let's say you're lounging on a chair that you found here on this channel and your wallet falls out because you're so comfortable and you lose your wallet. Well, you can call them up at any time because they're 24/7 customer service based here in the US, and they will walk you through everything you need to close and all the things you need to reapply for to become whole again. You also get $1 million of fraud insurance, and you also get their white glove service, which means that if anything were to happen, you can call them up and they will walk you through every single step until that issue is resolved. Try them totally free for 14 days using my link aura.com/honestly. Newhouse recommends that the Ergo 3D be used for people between 5'4" and 6'1". And while I agree with their shorter tier at 5'4", because I'm 5'6", and when I sit in the chair, my feet touch the ground very comfortably. And when I pull the headrest all the way down, it's a little bit too short for me. So I do believe there's a little bit of leeway for people who are shorter. However, for taller folks, I don't think it's gonna work for people as tall as 6'1". And the primary reason why is because when I look at the distance between my back of the knee and this front of the chair, I'm fitting about 4 fingers here. If you're taller, I imagine that this chair might hurt your thighs because the mesh on this chair is fairly loose, and they're using this padding here. So if your legs are super long and you're a little bit heavier set, then I imagine your thighs are gonna be crashing into this front lip of the chair. So I'm gonna say, if you wanna play it safe, maybe about to 5'11". And then their weight recommendation is 275. I'm gonna say if you're 275, you should avoid this chair because it's using the same mesh as the Staples Hyken. And as you know, with cheaper chairs and their mesh does wear out and sag, and it will sag even quicker if you're on the heavier side. So I'm gonna say, just to be safe, I'm gonna say no heavier than 200 pounds. If you're over 200 pounds, you may want to avoid this chair altogether. This chair actually came with 2 different casters. It came with the regular standard casters and then the rollerblade casters. Now, I think for most people, you would prefer the rollerblade casters. These are rubber, they're gonna be quieter, it rolls nicely. The only issue is that this adds quite a bit of height to your chair, and every chair that I've had where it had rollerblade casters, I found that my feet were barely touching the ground. So that's why I used the regular casters. If you're taller than 5'6" or you have longer legs, you would probably wanna go with the rollerblade casters that they include in the box. The legs on this chair are skinny, but they're totally flat, which makes it pretty good for people who like to lift their legs up and swing around in their chair like I do. As mentioned earlier, this is a pretty simple chair, so you get a single paddle on the right side. This controls your height adjustment. And then if you pull it out, your back tilt will be unlocked. And then if you push it in at any point, you can go ahead and lock that back tilt. I believe you get 3 different positions. You get fully tilted back, you get about halfway, and then you get fully upright tilt lock. There's a knob underneath the chair that tightens the back tilt tension, but this is where we need to talk because this knob here can be very difficult to turn, both because of its position and also because generally like the amount of arm strength needed to really tighten that can be quite significant. And I've found about 25 to 30 spins before you can go from fully taut to being fully loose. But this is where we need to talk a little bit because there is a feature on this chair that I really like, but I can imagine people not really liking it. So right now the chair is pretty taut. So if I sit in the chair, this is me putting a decent amount of pressure on it. This is how I like to sit. I like having the back unlocked and then me kind of being suspended a little bit in air with a natural kind of lean back position. Not too far obviously, but just a little bit naturally leaned back. But here's the thing. On a chair like this, where the knob, the tension knob is very difficult to access and turn, There are times when I wanna be sitting upright or like just slightly suspended, and then there are times when I wanna fly back. Well, this chair has this mechanism where even though it's taut here when I'm sitting up, if I really put some juice on it, it will still let me tilt very, very easily. And I can imagine this polarizing people, because some people might say, no, I really like putting a lot of pressure and having the chair hold me up. But there might be some of you who are like me who say, no, I love going from a upright to a lean back easily position. And so for me, I love it, but I'd love to know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you like chairs, tech, or desk setups, make sure you get subscribed because I have a ton of content coming your way. And if you wanna help this channel grow, all you have to do is like this video and leave a comment down below that tells the algorithm you want this video pushed out for others to see to be able to find their perfect chair. I'd really appreciate it. The seat on this chair is interesting. The fall off on the front is pretty rapid, and that's good for shorter people because having it quickly fall off here means that it's not going to be cutting off any circulation under my legs. However, if you have long legs, particularly long thighs, the longer your leg is, that means the more pressure there's going to be on that thigh, and then it's not going to cut off circulation, but it's going to really dig into your thigh, and it can be uncomfortable. That's why if you're really like up there at 6'1", I don't think this chair is going to be ideal for you. The chair does have hard edges on the side, but it's at the very edge of the chair. So it means that if you like to be an ergonomic rebel and fold up on your chair, if you're wearing shoes, then those shoes are gonna block your legs from obviously contacting that plastic. If you're barefooted though, your feet will dig into that plastic and it will hurt. I will say that it's pretty good for leg over leg though, because unlike the Herman Miller Aeron, which has pretty aggressive wings that come up on the edges, you have a pretty good amount of room before you start to run into the hard edges on this chair. You know, this wouldn't be an honest review if we didn't talk about booty juices. So the fact that this is using a mesh seat versus a fabric seat, there is a lower chance, and especially because it's like a plasticky material, there's a lower chance that this kind of mesh seat will absorb your booty juices versus the fabric might, there's a chance that it will get stained with all of those scents over a long period of time. Now, when it comes to the texture of this, it's not rough, but at the same time, it's not smooth, right? It's mesh, it's plasticky mesh. I can rub it like this, and there's a little bit of friction, but it doesn't hurt me. But at the same time, will you like the texture of it on your legs on a hot summer day? I don't think so. These arms have 4 motions. You can go up and down, you can go front and back, side to side, and you can swivel in, middle, and out. It's got a decent range of motion, but if you really want the arms wider out, you really have to, when you're installing the chair, install the arms further out or just remove them altogether if you're into that kind of thing. When it comes to the backrest and lumbar, you can see that the lumbar is pretty pronounced, but again, because it's mesh, it's not gonna stay there, right? It can bend and mold and flex with you. And when it comes to the backrest, I like the kind of support it gives. The mesh feels really good because again, it kind of molds naturally to your back. But here are some things that you should note. One is that you can get a good amount of like back spread here, but you can't go too far because the edges kind of fold in and they are using hard edges. So when you pull back, you do run into the hard plastic fairly early on your triceps. The other thing that you should note is that when it comes to the top back, you can see that there is quite a bit of room before my back starts to hit this top plastic. And again, if you're at about 5 foot, I think, what did I say, 5'11", I forget now. I think 5'11", you should have plenty of room before your back starts to hit the top edges of this chair. Now, when it comes to this headrest, what makes it so good? First of all, it's easy to adjust because every cheap chair that I've used, it takes so much energy to raise or lower the headrest that coming down is dangerous, especially if it comes low, because they all have hard plastic edges and it can slam onto your spine bone up right before your, I don't know what it's called, the top of your spinal cord, right? So, but this on the other hand can go up and down fairly easily, but it's not overly loose. So I really like that. And then the second thing is it tilts pretty far. And the best part about it is that it's nice and wide, or what do you call this, long. And what that means is when I'm resting my head on it, I'm not feeling the plastic on the top of my head, or I'm not feeling plastic on the bottom of my neck. It fits really nicely. And because it's got a nice curve, it means that it can fit nicely in the curvature of my neck, again, without feeling plastic on the crown or in the back of my head. This is just so well done. And when I lean back, it means that I can use this both in my neck, or I can raise it up and use it on my head if I wanted. And so it's just, I don't know. Why can't anybody get this right? Thank you, Newhouse. Thank you. Finally, a headrest that freaking works. Finally. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this one. If you like this video, you know what to do. Give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, get subscribed for more chair reviews, and share this video out so that other people, your friends and family, can find the ideal chair for their office setup. Until next time, guys, stay safe, and as always, stay honest.